It could be argued that the luxury compact crossover market is very well saturated, where it seems as though every single vehicle is trying to emulate the Germans in one way or another, whether it's the interior quality, driving dynamics, or interior technology. And that's mostly due in part to automotive publications giving the Q5, GLC, and BMW X3 very high marks. But when you take a look at what Americans buy the most, it's crossovers like the RDX. And that's why I am here. I want to take a deep dive into the RDX A-Spec, check out all the features that this vehicle comes with, and also see why, if you are looking at buying a luxury compact crossover that's practical, that is very spacious, and is sensible, but also fun in its own way, then maybe taking a look at the Acura RDX might be a great decision. Now, before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout and thank you to Ira Acura of Westwood in Westwood, Massachusetts, for allowing me to do this review. Their link will be in the description below, so you can check out their extensive Acura inventory. Also, before we get started, make sure to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you're notified every time a new video goes live on the channel. And so, without wasting any further time, let's get right in this review. For the luxury compact crossover segment, there's not a general consensus on what is the ideal option for most Americans, as you either get a practical, sensible, and accommodating SUV, or you prioritize performance at the expense of affordability. And it's very rare to come across a vehicle that can balance everything evenly. The Acura RDX has always found itself in the shadows of its closest rivals, yet it's appeared to be the dependable choice despite not being the coolest or most cutting edge. Out of the Japanese manufacturers, Acura has established a unique identity, one in which enthusiasts can gravitate towards, but also a brand that isn't afraid to take chances by setting themselves apart from their competitors. Starting off with pricing, the model we have today is an A-Spec Advance, which is an all-new trim for 2022, coming in at $52,600, which is the most well-equipped and expensive in the RDX lineup. In past years, buyers loved the sportier aesthetics of this crossover, but we're missing out on the tech features that were only available on the Advance, and this new model provides the best of both worlds. Being one of the older offerings in this market, despite its debut in 2018, Acura has yet to give this crossover an extensive overhaul or a significant update. Yet it still provides an impeccable value proposition that even more modern rivals today in 2022 are just not offering to consumers. Not uncommon for Japanese luxury vehicles, the RDX does outsize many within this segment, and that will have a profound effect on interior space and overall practicality, as its higher roofline and longer dimensions are a departure from what we see from luxury compact crossovers. While the chances of going off-road with the RDX are likely minimal, you do have a ground clearance of 8.2 inches to take on unplowed roads during the winter. Outwardly for the 2022 model, Acura did give one of their best-selling vehicles a very minor refresh for the front bumper, as it now shares a similar cosmetic design from the headlights down to the larger MDX, with active air curtains and a non-functional grille design for a slightly more aerodynamic road presence. Acura's signature diamond pentagon grille that's outlined in gloss black through the sports appearance package that comes equipped on the A-Spec adds a lower profile and aggressive persona that blends in perfectly with the classy jewel-eye LED headlights and LED fog lights. Moving over to the side profile, the A-Spec Advance will be sitting on 20-inch sharp gray split multi-spoke wheels, which is exclusive to this trim. Ride quality is rather impressive even with the larger tire size, as the adaptive dampers not only keep you feeling comfortable on uneven pavement, but when put into sport mode, the RDX performs incredibly well when cornering, to a point where I'd confidently say is one of the more surprising and enticing crossovers that's powered by a 4-cylinder engine. You'll have body color, power folding, heated side mirrors with turn signal indicators, with blind spot detection being found on the A-pillar when you step inside. Then coming around to the back, the RDX retains an athletic silhouette, even with the lack of a sloping roofline as we see from competitors like the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Instead of fully embracing a sportback design as we see from the Germans, Acura's philosophy of creating a one-size-fits-all crossover works almost flawlessly, as the rear end encapsulates its sporty yet upscale demeanor, as the LED taillights and dual exhaust outlets let you know it is a luxury crossover, but one that can be enjoyable to drive as well. What you see on the outside sets the tone for what you'll experience when you get behind the wheel, as you're greeted by 16-way power-adjustable, heated, and ventilated seats, with ultra-suede inserts for both the driver and passenger, with the driver's side being two-position memory for added convenience. A desired feature that was only available on the Advance trim last year is a high-quality and easy-to-read head-up display with traffic sign recognition to help keep your eyes on the road ahead. In front of you, between the analog gauges, you will have a digital display that showcases a good amount of information. And by using the dial on the steering wheel, you can scroll through safety settings, tire pressure monitoring, and fuel economy statistics. Then moving over to the infotainment system, Acura continues to insist on not using a touchscreen, and instead you'll have a trackpad and quick access buttons found on the center console. With the A-Spec, you do have the ELS Studio 3D Premium audio system, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility to go along with onboard navigation and built-in Amazon Alexa. Admittedly, it will take some time to get acclimated with this trackpad, but once you develop muscle memory with this user interface, it becomes second nature to use. Not noticeable during daylight hours, the RDX does have ambient lighting to set the mood, but more importantly, and a tech feature buyers demanded for the A-Spec, you'll have a top view camera to supplement the backup camera with trajectory to go along with front and rear parking sensors. Below, all the buttons for the dual zone climate control and 3-level heated and ventilated seats are within arm's reach, with the drive mode selector mounted in the center for easy access. Underneath the bridge that connects the concealable cup holders, you have a wireless phone charging pad, and there will be a USB-C and 12-volt outlet. For the center storage compartment, you'll have enough room for smaller items. And rounding out the front seating area, above will be a panoramic moonroof to let in a lot of natural light to the interior. Now moving on to the second row, we're going to start off on the passenger side. And this seat has been adjusted all the way back and is somewhat on a recline, and I have plenty of legroom here. Now I'm not the tallest person out there, I'm around 5'5". However, the RDX is very accommodating and spacious for the interior, specifically for the second row. We have a lot of shoulder room, but also a good amount of headroom as well, even with the massive panoramic moonroof. So if you do have taller passengers in the second row throughout the week, they should be comfortable and not feeling cramped or claustrophobic like you may experience with the Alfa Romeo Stelvio and possibly even the Lexus NX as well, because it is a smaller vehicle in this market. Then moving on to the center seat, you're not going to have an aggressive center hump at all in this vehicle. In fact, it's almost non-existent, which will allow you to fit a third person back here. And for some competitors, you really can't say the same. This would be on par with the Volvo XC60 and also the BMW X3. And when it comes to trying to squeeze in an average size adult in the center, you can definitely do so. So if you do have 3 smaller kids and you're going on a longer road trip with the family, I think the RDX is more than enough, and it's definitely giving you that practicality that you want to see at this price point and in this market. Then finally, taking a look at the driver's side, this seat has been adjusted to someone of my height, around 5'5", and I can just sit back here, relax, and enjoy the driving experience. In fact, when it comes to the interior dimensions of this crossover, it does feel like the Honda CR-V, but what I love about the Acura RDX is that it doesn't feel like a rebadged Honda. It has a completely different driving experience, it has a completely different interior, and it just gives you that upscale and premium quality that you're looking for. And speaking of that quality, you have the ultra suede inserts on the seats, but that suede makes its way on the door panels. Then also the armrest on the door panels is padded, so you feel very comfortable in here, which I really love to see in this vehicle, especially with a price point around $55,000. Also back here, you do have 2 rear air vents to go along with 2 USB-C inputs and 3-level heated outboard seats. And finally, to round out the second row seating area, you do get a center armrest with 2 cup holders. Now coming around,
to the back, you're going to receive a power liftgate. And inside, behind the second row seats, you're looking at right around 29.5 cubic feet of room to work with. In fact, it's bordering closer to 30 cubic feet, which actually outclasses many in this segment, including the BMW X3 very marginally, the Audi Q5, Mercedes-Benz GLC, Alfa Romeo Stelvio, and the list just goes on and on. When you take a look at the interior spacing for this crossover, whether it's the second row, maybe even up front, but also this cargo area, this is where I feel the RDX is providing a lot of value, especially when you take a look at the features, but also the pricing as well. There's more than enough space to go on a road trip with the family, where I think you can stack up probably 5 to 6 bags of luggage, if not more, just because of a relatively higher roofline. So that is really great to see, especially for a sporty crossover like the RDX A-Spec. Also back here, you're going to notice a decent sized cubby for some smaller items, maybe a couple water bottles or car detail equipment to keep this car looking nice and clean. Then beneath the floor mat, you're going to notice another storage compartment where you can probably store some more valuable items such as laptops or anything else that's tech gadget related. So that way, if you do leave this vehicle unattended for a while, you can leave them back here and have that peace of mind knowing that no one will be able to peek in and steal what you have. Then on either side of the rear cargo area, you're going to notice quick release levers that will conveniently lower the second row seats with a simple tug. That way you spend more time loading up this vehicle with all your gear and less time having to manually lower those second row seats. But with those second row seats folded though, you're looking at right around 59 cubic feet. Now that will be a bit less than the BMW X3 from an overall cargo capacity perspective. However, once again, it does outclass many in this market. You're also going to notice that there are indents for a rear cargo cover, but it's not equipped on this model, so that's one feature I do like to see for vehicles in this segment. And then once you're done, just press the button, and the liftgate will close automatically.
Under the hood of the RDX is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, producing 272 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque, and is paired with a 10-speed automatic transmission. With this crossover being sporty in nature, 0 to 60 times come in just above 6 seconds, which is par for the course in this market. But more importantly is its agility that not many non-German competitors possess, as steering is smooth, and with one little nudge of the wheel, this crossover is already turning into the upcoming corner. Unlike its competitors, such as the Volvo XC60 and Infiniti QX50, the RDX is far more playful and engaging. But it should be worth noting that the 10-speed automatic transmission won't feel as crisp or responsive as the ZF 8-speed automatics from Alfa Romeo and BMW. As mentioned earlier, the suspension has a positive impact on performance, where you will experience some minor body roll, but it's not as noticeable as some of the rivals that primarily focus on luxury and comfort. There will be some rigidity as you feel some of the bumps. However, those active dampers will elevate the ride quality. As with most crossovers in this market, the RDX is front-wheel drive biased, but all-wheel drive is optional and will likely be the choice for most consumers living in colder regions of the US. When it comes to fuel economy, you're looking at right around 22 miles per gallon in the city and 28 miles per gallon on the highway. Ultimately, for the on-road performance and experience, the RDX is a pleasant surprise. Not only do the seats have a premium feel to them, but the interior is very well insulated. But there will be some droning of the engine in certain situations, as the 10-speed auto isn't as quick shifting as we've experienced with the Acura MDX or TLX. Where buyers will find the RDX to provide the best value is with its comfortable yet engaging driving characteristics, while at the same time still providing the driver and passengers the level of comfort they demand and expect at just over $50,000.
So to wrap up my time with the 2022 Acura RDX A-Spec, what are my final thoughts and takeaways for this luxury compact crossover? I do believe this vehicle is very well rounded. I also think that it's a jack of all trades, but a master of none. It's not going to do one thing great and outclass other rivals in this market in one way or another, but it does just enough where up against its closest competitors, it's a more sensible option. It makes sense. It's also, in my mind, a more enjoyable crossover to drive than a Volvo XC60 and an Infiniti QX50. Now, even though the interior is a bit outdated, I do think buyers love the physical buttons. And even though the infotainment system isn't intuitive to use, once you get used to the trackpad, it then becomes second nature. But the way the interior is laid out, it certainly sets a tone for what this crossover is going to offer you for the on-road experience. While I do believe most enthusiasts will go with the 6-cylinder powered crossover in this market for the better performance, but also usually those vehicles have stiffer suspensions. The RDX is no slouch and is not a vehicle you should be overlooking because for its price point at around $55,000, the handling is so smooth, it's direct, and it's responsive. I had so much fun with this crossover on back roads and around rotaries when there weren't people on them and slowing me down. But also, even though the 10-speed automatic isn't my favorite compared to the ZF8-speed that we see in the Alfa Romeo Stelvio and also the BMW X3, I do think it gives you that sporty feel that you're looking for. I also love the fact that for a crossover that really leans more towards the responsible side of things just because of its practicality, but also the fact that it's not the most flashiest out there, it does have a bad side to it, and it is a crossover that you can really enjoy driving on a daily basis. And also it's a great family-friendly crossover as well that I think is a better alternative to the Volvo XC60 and the Infiniti QX50. So if you are looking for a vehicle at this price point at around $50,000 to $55,000 and you're looking to save a bit compared to some of the German rivals out there, especially ones that are very well equipped, then I think the RDX, even though it is showing its age, is not the most tech-driven and tech-focused, I still think it's a great value right now in 2022. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Also make sure to follow me on Instagram at Boston Autoblog so you can see what I'm up to and what vehicles I'll be featuring in the future. And I will see you guys next time.